Welcome to the MTD podcast. Thank you for listening. Today we're doing something a bit special. We're here at the brand new Mitsubishi Materials office. My name's Rowan Robinson, a proud member of the MTDCNC team. I'm here with three very special guests today. Let's start from left to the right to right. Could you guys please introduce yourselves?
Today's episode is brought to you by MTDCNC, the go-to platform covering the latest stories in the world of manufacturing.
Yeah, I'm Tim Rose. I'm the Southern Regional Sales Manager. I've been with Mitsubishi about 15 months now and in the industry for 25 odd years.
Yeah, brilliant. And Melanie?
I'm Melanie Drayton. I'm the HR and Corporate Planning Manager, also touch on marketing as well. I've been here for 32 years, so I've seen a lot of changes and we're just growing from strength to strength.
Wow, we have a real veteran of the industry, not just the company, the industry here. And then last but not least.
Yeah, so my name's Jason Purcell. I've been with Mitsubishi now just short of 2 years, coming up to September. And I've been in the industry for 21, 22 years.
Yeah, brilliant. So we've got a lot of knowledge and experience around this table here. Today we're going to be talking about the business transformation of Mitsubishi Materials, the effect on customers, what customers can expect from Mitsubishi today. Also a little bit about sustainability, carbide recycling, about brand new acquisitions inside the company, Mitsubishi Materials as well, that helps with special tooling, helps with delivering that recycling directly to customers in the best way possible. We're going to be talking about loads of different topics, the 3-year journey that you're on. You're kind of 2 years into a 3-year journey, your partnerships around the UK and how those help you show off your technology in all across the country and also in Ireland as well. Maybe a little bit about tool vending, some really interesting topics, and also kind of what's happening this year, next year. We've got Mac coming up next year, which is really exciting. So loads to go at. First of all, it seems like this brand new office, congratulations, by the way, is Mitsubishi back?
We're absolutely on the journey. We've made a huge inroad from where we started, and our customers are now saying Mitsubishi's back. So I think that's an amazing achievement, but there's much more for us to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Who are Mitsubishi Materials to start with? They're a brand name in the UK that's been around for a while, but if you were to describe to someone who didn't know who you were, what would you say?
So yeah, we're part of the Mitsubishi Group. We've been in the UK for well over 30 years now, but it's been what we call a sleeping giant. So it's somebody that's got fantastic quality, fantastic products assortment across many different ranges, great engineers, great technical expertise. But where we've not been good is we've never promoted ourselves well enough in the past. So too few customers really know who Mitsubishi is. But Mitsubishi is one of the biggest brands you'll ever hear of in your personal and work life. We're now on that journey to really promote and make customers aware of who we are, but more importantly, what we can do to help them.
Absolutely. Before we go into that journey, which we'll do just now, I'll also mention I've worked with Mitsubishi Materials, I guess, with Adrian Barnacle for a long time, since I was about 17, 18. What we haven't mentioned is that you guys provide cutting tools, carbide cutting tools, simple as that, pretty much. But I think for a lot of people who know lots of cutting tool brands, you hear the name, you know exactly what you guys do. We talk about something else, but cutting tools, really important in industry. And we're talking about for machine tools, for metalworking, any other industries as well.
Yeah, well, I think the funny thing you're picking up on from what you just said, well, obviously we do cutting tools, but when you speak to most people in the UK, you talk about Mitsubishi, they say, oh, you're a drilling company. And that's the challenge for us, because as a business, we do much more than just drills. So, we provide lots of different product ranges, end mills, inserts, drills, the whole thing. But we've not really had that focus to tell people. Now our journey's on, and I think the cutting tool side, machine tool side, we're really getting into solutions as a emphasis and a focus for us now in our business. So there's much, much more for us to be able to share with customers now going forward.
And when you talk about solutions, what do you mean by solutions for a customer?
So traditionally, companies have always been price driven. So they've always tried to sell on a price. I can give you the best tool for the best price. It doesn't necessarily mean that that tool was the right tool for the customer. What our focus now is to make sure that we work with a best tool policy. So we want to make sure that when we sell products to customers, they're doing it because the tool is the right solution for them. but more importantly, we would then want to back it up with all the other expertise that we have. So we have an engineering organisation now that's newly formed, both in project design and in um, engineering excellence. We have our engineers, we have our application team as well, but we also have the additional services that we're now building into our offer. So you talked earlier about sustainability, recycling. We've also got regrinding, tailor-made solutions in terms of special tools. We've also got test tooling reports that we're working with, consulting services. So it's that whole aspect of the offer now, rather than just selling the product. We're selling the total solution from end to end.
As Tim, as the regional sales manager, how have you seen that change on the road with your team and your sales team, as what they can offer and how they've been able to serve customers better?
I think it's to do with changing the narrative of the type of conversations that we're having. Where in the past, like you say, it was very much a product driven. You'd go in, we've got a product, we want to sell it to you. Now it's a case of, well, what are you actually doing? Can we reduce your cycle times? It's about cost per part. We are a premium product. We're not the cheapest in the market. We never will be. It's about, but more companies now are looking at what comes behind that. They're looking at how can they reduce their costs, and what we're doing is having those conversations with them of how we can help them do it.
Yeah, which is fantastic. And I think that recent transformation is all since kind of, Jason, you've come in to kind of steer the ship of the company, so to speak. What has been your experience of the past 2 years watching the company change from something you've known the company for over 30 years, Melanie? What kind of changes have you seen, not just in sales, but more broadly?
It's a whole transformation, basically, from beginning to end. We are a completely different company right now. From It's like you say with the recycling. We started the recycling program, and that's offering another solution for the customer, to enhance their benefits again from us just by using the tools, or using any tool, to be fair. From beginning to end, from employees, from the way we control things, the core of our functions, everything from beginning to end. It's quite a journey, and it's been a fast journey, so I can't deny that. It's very rewarding, I'll say that, because we probably stood still for a long time, but now we're embracing every opportunity we can. And we are just going to keep moving forward, and then it'll just be another challenge. So the transformation will just keep moving.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're 2 years into a 3-year transformation plan. That I guess you've been following, and you've been trying to manage that, Jason. There's been some great effects though. You're already winning really big contracts in customers that we can't name, but in the F1 sector, for example. Tell me a little bit about that. How did that come about, and what's been the success of that as a result of the transformation?
I think there's been so many things that we've actually changed in the business. It's hard to actually remember and even talk about. But I think one of the most important things that we've done is we've invested in the right people. So transformation is a tough challenge for any business that's going through it. And one of the unfortunate consequences is that sometimes people move on. But what we've done now is, has that happened, we've brought in new skills. We've brought in people that have got great enthusiasm, and they can help us. And what we've started to do is bring in key people that have got great insight into specific industries. And, I think we can talk about F1 is one of those. So there are lots of great companies in the F1 industry. We're very strong in that world because of our product and the quality and everything that goes with that. But again, coming back to having that engineering expertise and that support mechanism from start to finish now, we've been successful in bringing on skilled people who know how to sort of work with those industries. They've engaged with those customers, they've won those customers, they've proven concept, and we've now just signed partnerships with at least 3 additional companies that we didn't have a partnership with before, which for us is fantastic.
Yeah, and it's really F1 is obviously a big industry here in the UK.
It's only going to grow. It's massive. We already have a strong presence in Formula One. This is just going to catapult us even further now. But I think what's recognisable from the customers, give you a bit of feedback. One of the customers has recently said to us, the reason they chose us is not only our product is fantastic quality, but they recognise everything that we're doing as a business now to drive our service level from end to end. It's the way that the people in our business operate at the customer's premises, and as well as it's backed up here in our offices.
And that's why I think it's important to have a space here that is really open and welcoming, and is really easy for customers to come in and see what's happening to Mitsubishi Materials today. It's not the company they've experienced in the past and worked with, so it's really easy to come here. We're here at the office in Tamworth, so if anyone's, which is obviously right in the heart of kind of manufacturing in the UK, so if customers are local, or even if they're not local but they're interested in finding out what Mitsubishi Materials can do for them, this is a great space to come and discuss that. Let's talk about other sectors. F1, we've focused on a little bit, but there's loads of other high quality sectors. Maybe low volume but high value components that need really critical parts. How can you help those sectors? I think maybe aerospace, medical.
Aerospace, medical, defence, they're real prominent for us, and I think we have sort of product ranges that suit all of them. We have very skilled application engineers that work across all of these areas. What they have done fantastic as well is over many years, they've built strong relationships and they understand what these industry sectors need. It's true to say that we've got much more to do to penetrate some of these companies. Again, they don't really know who we are and what we offer and what we provide. But, key industries for us, we want to satisfy every industry, but defence, aerospace, F1, amongst those that we're working with, medical, diamold, there's lots of areas that we're working with.
Well, yeah, and what's interesting in the market, as you know, you've been involved in it for a very long time, is people move around. It's quite a small industry, really, and we're finding a lot more now that as people move from company to company, especially within things like aerospace and Formula One and the likes, they're going there and they're now singing our praises. They're going to new companies and saying, "You guys don't use Mitsubishi. I don't know why," and it's opening new doors for us, which we've never had in the past.
Which is really interesting. And what do you think are the requirements of those industries, aerospace, for example, medical, that you're hearing from your sales team? What are they saying that you guys need to provide that now you can, since you have a strong engineering team and a strong office team to
I
back
think
them up?
again it goes back to what I was saying earlier about people are looking at the bigger picture now. It's not just how much a tool costs, because there are lots of brands out there in the marketplace, and lots who do very good products. But it's not just about who has the cheapest; it's what you can do with it. And we now have the technical capability to back up. We already know our tools are great, but we're now able to showcase that, and we've got new test reports and everything to show a customer how much money we can actually save them. The cost of the tool is 3% of the overall cost of actually manufacturing a part. If you can reduce their cycle times or increase their speeds and feeds, whatever it may be, you can save them a lot more in the long run. And we can actually now prove that to them, that rather than saving you 50 quid a year on your tool, we can save you £50,000 a year in everything else.
Mm. Yeah, costing the process is much more important than costing the tool. But the bill you get at the end of the month of the carbide, it's an easy number to put into a spreadsheet and calculate. What's hard is to cost your whole process, especially time taken to produce a component.
And we now do that for them. We have that capability to stand there on the duck board, do the trial, and then put it all into data for them to say, this is what you can actually achieve with our tools.
And how do you invite a big potential customer to challenge you with something like that if they don't know that that's what you can do? If they don't know that's what's possible, it's a bit of a marketing problem,
I was just
Melanie,
about to say that's
and it's a bit
exactly
of a
where
sales
yeah,
problem.
and that's our project at the moment, is to try and get our brand awareness really out there and our name out there. Like, we are back, we are different, and we can offer so many solutions in so many ways. It's like it is like our marketing campaign at the moment. We're trying to touch all social medias, trying to enhance everything that we can to show people, because different people touch it in different ways. They might like it hard copy, they like email, or they like different social medias, and they might only hone in one. So we have to make sure we can cover everybody in every area to secure we get seen, that to ask the question, as well as our staff as well, all employees, when they're out there, and the apps guys are out there and the sales guys, it's knocking on that door to say, hi, I am here, I am around. And if they've got a contact point, then they can get in touch and we can help them at that point. If we can't get to them and they don't know we're there, we can't help them. So it's getting the name out there.
And what is the message you're trying to tell them? What problems are customers struggling with that you want to say, look, we can help if you're dealing with this?
I think previously, over the many, many years, it's been a communication thing. We've not been able to communicate our what we can offer, what we can offer to them. We haven't been able to get it across to them. Now it's once they know us, once they hear about us, because you hear a lot of comments. Oh, it's Mitsubishi. It's not just Mitsubishi. Now it's Mitsubishi. It's it's like give them a go, ask them, find out what they can do, and our solution packages now that we offer, they are amazing. Like I say, with the transformation, we've had to learn and train from the core. So we've got all the documentation now. We've got everything in place that we literally can make it easy for that customer. We can show it them. We can explain to them, demonstrate. And then if they have that opportunity, we can take the opportunity and deliver the results straight off. And then once they know, it'll just ricochet just completely onto the next customer, to the next customer.
And I think the key word you said as well was challenge. We're now getting that visibility in front of customers. We're getting through the door. We're having those conversations, and then challenge us. That's what we want. That's what our guys are going in and saying. What are you working on? What's coming up in the future? Give us that opportunity, and we will attempt to deliver. And 9 times out of 10, we probably will. The time we can't, where somebody else, like Jason said, it's a best tool policy. If we don't have that best tool for that job and we can't prove that we do, we'll shake your hand at that point, and you go with something else, and we look at the next project. But we're confident in what we do and the people we have and the products we have, that when we are challenged, more often than not, we can do something that will actually benefit the customer.
And I think that's the credibility, isn't it? Because everything we work on now in our business is aligned to the values that we have. Challenge is one of those, change is one of those values. But one of the things I recognise in our guys is that in the past, they probably weren't even aware of what we could offer to the customer, because in the sense it was mainly just sell a product for a price. Now we're giving them a kit. There's a kit of everything that's included, and we have the job where we've got to make sure that people are trained, developed, and they understand that kit so they can offer that solution to the best of their ability. But I think the one thing that we're doing well now, and much better than we have in the past, we have those people that know that, as Melanie, Tim have both said, are knocking on the doors. Something that we have not really had. People are now in those customers, that are engaging with the customers. You use the word Mitsubishi is back. That's really fantastic for me, because, my guys are telling me that customers are now recognizing who we are, what we're doing. They're seeing that difference. And I think, the solution theme and the focus that we have is going to take some time. It's not going to be right now. It's a sort of part of the transformational journey. But that's the vision. That's where we want to be. We no longer want to be just somebody that's selling a drill. We want to be people that recognise, well, okay, I've got a major problem on the shop floor. I want to take cost out of this. I want to become more efficient. I want to be more streamlined. Who can I go to? It is, come to us, Mitsubishi. We're here to help.
And to support that, you've got two fairly new business acquisitions. They're in special tooling and in recycling. How do those two come together with your standard catalogue and stock that you hold to offer that full solution?
Well, I think the acquisitions that the company's making, it just demonstrates, firstly, the investment that Mitsubishi as a group is putting into Europe for us. It recognises where customers need to have that additional support. But we've just acquired a tailor-made unit in UFP in Italy. Fantastic in taking all of the special tool requirements that customers have, and being able to sort of produce them. And of course, we've now got our recycling centre based out in Holland, which is also backing up what we have in Japan traditionally. These are fantastic units. That means now we keep everything internally within our business. It's in our own supply chain. It's in our own logistics. So end to end, we do everything ourselves. So, if it's a recycling, we can organise the collection of the customer. We can transport it. We can sort of break it down into raw material and powder form. We can put it back into the production unit. That is an amazing thing. We're not then sending it out to other companies to do. It's all kept internally. And if we talk about the special tools element and the tailor-made solutions, we've now got companies where we can work with them on design. We can make sure that we talk about additional portfolios of solutions and products that we've never had before. We can deliver speedily and across borders now. And it's just catapulting us into a completely different sphere now with customers. It strengthens our portfolio beyond anything that we've recognized in the past.
Yeah, brilliant. And why is it important to be able to offer recycling services with an in-house company? And why should customers recycle their carbide? What's the benefit to them?
I think that's a really good question. I think recycling is, it's one of those biggest myths. People don't really understand the benefit. At the end of the day, to the end user customer, recycling is cash. Lots of customers still today traditionally put recycling in the slurry bins, or they mix it in with all of the other scrap because they don't understand the value that's presented to them. Those customers that do recognise the value, they recognise it as its profitability. So they sell it to companies like Mitsubishi. Okay, they get extra sort of money on the bottom line in their business. So there's a true profitability for them. But for somebody like Mitsubishi, it's really in part of our sort of values, and it's part of our strategy. We want to be a sustainable business. Everything we do now is around the sustainability mark. So it gives us that opportunity to take that recycling carbide from customers as a service, rather than it ending up in landfill or anywhere else in a slurry bin. We can truly recycle it, break it down into our own through our own supply chain, and we can reproduce tooling from it. It then means we don't have to start buying additional carbide from other markets.
And how
it's
much
all
of that
kept in
carbide gets actually recycled? How much of that is used in
100%.
100%?
So everything that's carbide, the traditional issue with carbide recycling is that, unfortunately, when you open the boxes, there's always steel products within it.
Yeah, someone's not quite, they've chucked in the high-speed steel drill.
Sometimes I think they still don't realise that we've got to check it. So
just to top it up a bit.
Yeah, they do.
You don't find a few coffee mugs in there or something just to get a bit heavier.
Honestly, we
You
find
lead
everything.
weights.
We find tall holders. We find everything in those bins. So, but we have our own partner now who takes it all back. They check it, they validate it, they sort of clean it for us, and they hold it until it's transported. But yeah, everything we do now around that recycling is massive. But if it's carbide, when it goes back, it's 100%. Everything goes through our own recycling centres, and they take care of the lot. None of it goes to waste.
And from a sustainability point of view, carbide is a finite resource. Eventually it's going to run out, so people need to recycle it, because the long-term effects is prices will just go up and up and up from every supplier, because it will run out eventually. And we have the full cycle. Mitsubishi as a group, we now we actually mine carbide, and we create the powders, we create it all, and it goes through, and now we're recycling it as well, so the circle is complete. So people need to be doing it.
What would you say to a customer right now in the UK that is not recycling anything, any of their carbide, any of their
I'd say they're crazy, because it's free money. They've already paid for that tool, they've used that tool. To them now, it's scrap, it's dead. Why not get something back for it? It may be, as a cash payment. It may be just money off your account. It may be something you can then reinvest in your next lot of tooling. Why wouldn't you
What do
do
they have
it?
to do? What's the painful part of it? Why don't they do it? What's the bit the work they have to do to make recycling happen?
Make a phone call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
I think it's
It
probably
is as simple as that.
yeah.
It is literally just tell us, yeah, there's a box over there, take it away.
Again, I
We'll
think
do the
it's
rest
that
for them.
marketing side. Again, if people know we do it, it's job's done. Because then once they know we do it, and they can get the contact details, it's all over the website. We have we've got a designated email for them, so it's easy. So it's literally everything that goes in. It can be done so quickly. 1, 2, 3 process. It's just being known it's available.
I think we take care of most of it anyway.
Yeah,
think-
we do.
yeah.
I think the role of the customer is literally the email or the phone call. So
That's
our
all it
team
is.
now, within our customer services team, end to end, they book it, they arrange the transportation and uplift, they get it sent back to our partner. The partner deals with it, tells us what the true weight is. We go back to the customer. We do the financial side of the credit. It's all done in a very quick and simplistic
There's
process.
kind of no reason not to do it, really, is there?
Well, I think the challenge is most customers still don't really understand the power of what the recycling offer is. And I think, as Tim said, they don't understand the value of the money that they're throwing away in the bin. It's okay giving it to a recycling merchant with everything else you've got, but they're only going to give you one specific rate. Our recycling rates are very, very strong and competitive at the minute. We've launched our new recycling rates just this morning, into the UK market, and I'm truly flabbergasted by the rates. I've not seen rates like what we're offering today now for many, many years. So it's fantastic. And I would say, customers, give us a chance, give us that opportunity to showcase our recycling. But of course, the importance of recycling as well, it gives us that opportunity to engage with customers and also promote a bit more about who is Mitsubishi and the products and the solutions and the support we can give them. So it's not just always about the recycling. It's about, that's an entry point, but how can we sort of use that to sort of showcase everything else that we do? So yeah, so
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's move on to partnerships now, because you've got some quite strong partnerships around the UK with different organisations. Um, why do you partner with organisations like the AMRC, like NMIS up in Scotland? Um, why do you work with those organisations, and what do they allow you to show customers?
it's quite, it's on the journey, the transformational journey that we've been on. I've travelled up and down the country with different people, and I think the MIS Centre, it's, as with the AMRC and with other partners that we're working with, such as MTDCNC, it's about brand awareness. We have so many fantastic customers that are located around those areas where we're creating those partnerships, and it gives us that opportunity to use their machinery to showcase the products, do some trials. We did a fantastic customer event recently at Grob. That went very, very well. And we've got an open day coming up in the MIS Centre. We've got different activities like the Defence Roadshow that we've signed up into October. It's all about showcasing the products, showcasing the technology. And again, it's about that brand awareness, getting customers to realise that Mitsubishi is firmly back in the UK market.
Yeah. What about in terms of applications and technology as well? I mean, they've got a lot of great machinery. Grob obviously got some great machinery in the showroom, AMRC as well, and MIS. Has there been any interesting projects or technology that you've worked on in partnership with them?
Well, I think if you look at the Grob one, I'm perhaps not the best person to talk about the product side of it, but what I can say to you in terms of the application, I think it was a steel day, wasn't it, with Grob? They said that they was absolutely blown away by the technology that we had on the machines, but more importantly, they was blown away about the performance that come from our machine, from our tools. They hadn't seen that kind of performance on their machines. And I think that just demonstrates again the strength and the power of the products that we have. But we have probably around 6,000 new products that are destined to be launched, in the next 12 months in our business. We've already launched some, but there'll be more to come. It just continues to enhance and sort of makes us superior on that product quality and performance that we're striving to give our customers.
And do you think that strength in product is to do with the fact that uh, you have control over supply all the way back from carbide mining, all the way into, I guess, technology development in Japan? There is a huge, I guess you'd call it, a huge setup for producing the best carbide tools, all based in the home country of Mitsubishi in Japan. Can you tell me a little bit about that? How does that work? So from carbide mine to producing a cutting tool, where does it happen? How does it happen? And how does the product dev and the R&D happen as well?
Well, Mitsubishi has always been known for decades for product innovation. So much time and effort. There are massive teams in Japan that is all they do. Now, people, like Jason said earlier, a lot of people know us as a drilling company. You know, our MPS1 drills are known throughout the land, and everybody says how great they are. And things. We don't sit on those laurels. People have been working on that. As soon as that was released, they're on to the next one. How can we make that even better? And like you say, we have full control of it. We're not reliant on other people. We can get hold of that carbide. We have the best people in the industry in Japan working on these things. So having control of the whole process just gives you so much more that by the time it gets to the end customer, years down the line from when it was first conceived, they are getting, that very best tool.
And it's true. I mean, I think the cool star is like there's an end mill I've known for a long time, for example, and that's an end mill that I don't think any other tool provider could have touched in a very specific process in titanium. And I think there's some real like standout technology products that just are like cutting tools that are just not really matched in any other way in the market that I've seen personally. And I think it's probably to do with the fact that you've got this from raw carbide powder, raw carbide mining to powder to producing the cutting tools to grind to also coating as well is really important.
Yeah, we've got our own coating now. I think picking up on what you were just saying, I think look, the evolution in terms of Mitsubishi, from when it started, you know, we now understand the customers. We're talking to customers, in lots of different markets around the world. We understand what they need in terms of their technology that they're using, but also how our products can sort of enhance what they're doing. And I think that's the learning that we've used. The fact that we can do that from mining right the way now through to recycling as well, that just means that we're sort of really firmly committed to being a number one supplier to these customers, no matter what industry they're in.
And it's more of a challenge than it's ever been. Go back to when I first started it, there was two levels in carbide suppliers. You had your sort of premium suppliers, and then you had your cheaper imported economical brands, and there was quite a gulf between the two. Now, as technology has developed and companies have moved on, a lot of these ones that were the cheaper economic, the technology they now bring to the marketplace is of a decent quality. So there is even more of a challenge for us to keep innovating and keep pushing that boundary to make sure we stay one step ahead.
And that's the premium aspect, isn't it? Exactly. That's where we want to make sure we're recognised as a premium supplier to customers. Because Tim's absolutely right. Many, many years back, people used to sort of say, oh, well, it's not going to be a problem. Their quality is not good enough. Their quality is now good and their price is not bad. So, it just demonstrates how strong we have to be now as that supplier and, come back. We do it from end to end, cradle to grave in everything we do now. It's all within our own business. And not many companies can say that.
And it's back to the solution selling again. It's about the whole process rather than just the cost of the tool. It's how you apply the tool and what the customer gets out of it at the end. And that's, yeah.
And I think how we get it out further is through the NMIS and all the centres that we're working with. If our tooling is in those centres, then apprenticeships, training, because obviously we want to develop the best team, the best engineers out there. So if we can get the toolings in there when they're doing the apprenticeships, they're learning with the best tooling that's available. So if they're learning with the best, then when they move wherever they located, whether it's with ourselves or with another company, they know the great brands that they've trained with and what they've developed. So they're going to emphasize, oh, Mitsubishi, I used to work with Mitsubishi products and they've done this and they've done that. So it's starting within from the core downwards and then building up within.
And I think that's a really great point, picking up on what Melanie's saying, because one of the fundamental things that I brought to the business, if anything, is that development of people, not just internally, but externally. So, we truly develop our people now. Everybody that comes into our business, is focused on developing, training, learning, bringing new skills, learning new skills. But also, as Melanie said, we want to work with those training schools where we can sort of get them to touch Mitsubishi product first. If they touch Mitsubishi product first, when they get to the shop floor, they understand the products. They know the quality. They know who we are. So, we are really driving hard, and Melanie's doing a fantastic job of leading that training and development rollout in our business. She's constantly talking to the business leaders that we have in the company, including Tim, to make sure that people have got that training plans and everything in place. But those partnerships, they bring that idea. We've got this new campaign that's going to happen, up in Scotland, with the MTDCNC Centre, That could be something that's fantastic, because so many customers up there still don't know who we are. So we're going to have an open day for customers. We'll use their technology. We've just done it with Grob. We've got the Defence Roadshow. We've got Mac that's coming up in 2026. We're now becoming visible, but one of the things we're doing is we're becoming visible with people who really understand our tools and can apply them. Great people to back them up in the office and support here. So everything that we do now in a business is about strengthening our offer, but also strengthening the people to support it.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a testament to the quality of the company and what it's like to work for. With Melanie, you're kind of you're a walking example of how much, I guess, people can love this company.
Yeah.
Having worked here for over 30 years, I guess there must be something that keeps you coming back every
It's a
Monday
great company
morning.
to work for. It really is. I've seen lots of changes, ups and downs. We've plateaued, and it's been an interesting journey. I'd say the pinnacle that we are right now is the top point right now, and we are on our way up, and it's great to be part of that team. Um, I won't lie, it's not easy because you constantly every day something changes, but it's great opportunities that are coming through, and it's embracing it at that time, and it's I think it's trying to get that point across to everybody else as well, to jump on the journey, because we're on a brilliant journey, and it will be great at the other end. But yeah, we're developing, we're changing. Again, the new Mitsubishi that we are today is not what we were. And we've moved with the times, we're making the changes, and hopefully people will start to recognise that now.
It sounds like you're all really hungry for the future. What's next?
Yeah, so some good things coming up. We've talked about Mac, but I think we should sort of take a minute to talk about that. We haven't been at Mac for a number of years. I think COVID obviously had an impact on many companies, but I think it's also recognizable that within Mac, there's not many real OEM sort of premium brands that have a stand at Mac. So, we're going to make a difference. We're investing in that. We're going to have our biggest stand ever at Mac. So we're looking forward to April 2026. The great thing for us is that we've got lots of other events coming pre that, so we can take all of that learning. An area that's really important for us is that we traditionally deliver on a 48-hour cycle right now. We're planning to move that to a 24-hour cycle. And for us, that's a complete game changer. So we start testing that 24-hour cycle in August. So we're not too sure how long that cycle of test will be. But our plan, I made a commitment to customers that I want us to be a 24-hour delivery unit by the end of the year. And that's the plan.
That'll be a big step up. 48
Huge.
hours, you've got 2 days, you've got 16 hours to working hours to manage it. Bringing that all the way down to 24, that sounds like a challenge. How big is the challenge, and how are you going to achieve it?
It's probably one of the biggest challenges ever. So when I joined the business, I'm fortunately to have a background in sort of working with this in the past. So I've opened up a process and a plan that we have with other companies, and they're now pushing that ahead. And it's going to be that customers will be able to place orders right up until around 4:30 in the afternoon, and we're expecting to be delivered both in the mainland UK and in Ireland by next day. And everybody's involved. So our sort of head office is involved in the supply chain side of this, the logistical element in terms of where we sort of pick, pack, and sort of transport our products, right the way through to our own customer services team. Amy Holmes, who's our customer services manager, she's going to be leading this function and this process.
No pressure.
I tell her that every day. She doesn't believe me. But no, it's really important for us because, we want to, again, that's the commitment back to our customers. We want them to be able to sort of recognize that we can deliver those products on time. And I think the great thing for me, I pick up on, we talk about how we're now contacting customers. What's great for me is we've now got customers and distributors that are contacting us and they're saying, we can see these changes that you're making. We need to and want to be part of your journey. How can we get onto that train with you? And I think that to me is a real fantastic testament of what we're doing. But I think if we can get that 24-hour part, it's a game changer.
Well, yeah, from a customer point of view, being at that sharp end and being in those customers, so often it's, a tool has broken, a rush job has come in, something's, and you need something there the next day. You can't wait even 2 days. It's too long. If we can do that change, like we said, that is a game changer.
Yeah, it will. It'll push us into a different league, considering everything we're doing. But I think the future for us is massive. Our transformation journey, we're 2 years into a 3-year plan. Our first 2 years has been really to restructure, reevaluate and sort of stabilize and strengthen the business operationally, financially, which is now complete and done. There's still parts of that journey to work through, but we are in a very good place. And now our sort of sales transformation has truly started from the start of April with our fiscal year. And I'm perhaps quite amazed as I sit here at how much we've already done in the first quarter. We'll reflect back, we had our Q1 business update meeting yesterday, and we're demonstrating and showcasing very strong performance for our first quarter, which in a very difficult market time, we can really be proud of ourselves, but we can't rest on that. We have to do much more. What's fantastic yesterday is the cultural change that we see in our business now is massive. And I think that's all driven by those new people that are coming in, new positivity, new skill sets, new enthusiasm. But more importantly, it's a winning mentality. We've got people that want to win. We've got people that want to be successful. And more importantly, we've got people that want their customers to win and be successful.
Yeah, succeeding against the odds this year in a difficult market time, and also hopefully for the future. And then high quality tools arriving next day by hopefully January the 1st, 2026.
I
right?
hope so. I cross my legs, I cross my fingers, I cross everything.
Brilliant.
That is the plan. But if our test plan works as it should, we should be ahead of the game. We should be starting to do 24-hour delivery much sooner than the end of the year.
Well, good luck. And all I can say is, I guess, if people are going to be going to Mac next year, come check out the Mitsubishi Materials stand. Biggest stand yet for you guys at Mac, which will be exciting to see what you come up with. I'm sure there's designs already in the pipeline, but
It is, yeah,
keep
on its
them under
way.
wraps for the time being. Keep them under wraps. And yeah, I've got nothing else to say except thank you very much for your time, everyone. So it's Tim Rose, Melanie Drayton, Jason Purcell. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking to us about the brand new Mitsubishi Materials. Mitsubishi Materials is back. It's time to get excited. It's back. It's time to get excited about high quality tools, hopefully coming 24 hours, in 24 hours from next year. And yeah, from your brand new office here in Tamworth. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you
It's
very
great.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. If you want to find out more about what's happening in the world of manufacturing and engineering, visit mtdcnc.com.